In this video, we explored a hidden meaning behind Moses' act of hiding his face before God's presence. Discover the significance of this sacred encounter and how it relates to our own spiritual journey. Through careful analysis and biblical interpretation from Rav Avraham Yitzchak Kook, we unravel the symbolism and deeper truths embedded in this powerful moment. Join us on this sacred journey and deepen your own understanding of the spiritual lessons hidden within this ancient biblical story. Shalom everybody. During Moshe's first prophetic revelation at the burning bush, the Torah says that he turned away and he hid his face from God, from Hashem. So the question is why? The Talmud, which discusses this, is divided on whether this was an appropriate or an inappropriate response to a prophetic revelation. So let's begin with the first opinion that says that this was misplaced humility. It was rude. What Moshe did by hiding his face was a rude thing. Because why? Hashem wanted to show his face. Meaning Hashem wanted to show his glory, his presence. He wanted to reveal himself to Moshe. Why? Out of love. He wanted to connect. And Moshe was like, sorry, it's not the time. Now, we don't know Moshe's reasons for turning away, but let's just say it was humility, right? It was awe, humility, possibly even fear. But either way, it's interpreted as a negative thing, to the point where this opinion says that Moshe's refusal at this prophetic experience, at this opportunity for enlightenment, cost him in the end. Meaning some of his prophetic abilities was diminished. And so his prophetic ability was lessened. And so this wasn't a good thing. The other opinion in the Talmud says the following. It says not only was it a positive thing what he did, the hiding of his face out of humility, out of awe, out of reverence, but essentially he was rewarded for this. And where do we see that he was rewarded for it? The Talmud says twice, okay? Once when he came down Mount Sinai, it says his face was radiating with divine light, with divine splendor that was so brilliant and profound that the people were afraid to approach him. The people couldn't look directly at him, and thus Moshe had to wear a veil over his face. And the question is, if Moshe had this kind of light shining from his face, we see this is evidence that his prophetic ability was not diminished at all. In fact, it was enhanced. And the second text that is a proof text that Moshe was ultimately rewarded for his humility and him turning his face from God comes in the book of Numbers when his own brother and sister are talking behind his back. Miriam and Aharon are talking behind Moshe's back, and Hashem, God, intervenes and he says the following. The Lord said, "Now listen to my words. If there are prophets among you, in visions I reveal myself to them. In dreams I speak to them, but not so with my servant Moses. Throughout my house he is worthy of trust. Face to face I speak to him, plainly and not in riddles. The likeness of the Lord, or of Hashem, he beholds." Okay, so what's going on here? What kind of prophet was Moshe that the text says that that God speaks to him face to face? Face to face, right? Because no other prophet is able, according to our tradition, no other prophet is able to speak directly to Hashem. It is through visions. It is through dreams. It is through a voice within. It is through intuition. Some of the prophets, the later prophets in Jewish history, actually go into what is similar to an epileptic attack, where they would start rolling on the ground, and in the seizure, they began to prophesy. Not Moses. Okay, so let's just say the analogy is like this, just to explain the profundity of Moses' ability to his relationship to God directly is, let's take the analogy of a curtain, right? There are several curtains between a human being and between God. And those curtains are like filters, and they're necessary. So what happened at the burning bush was, let's say there's 100 curtains between man and God. Well, what God wanted to do at the burning bush is lift the final curtain. So 99 curtains were lifted for Moses. That's the level of a prophet that he was. But the 100th curtain, the final veil, Hashem was willing to lift, and that is when Moses turned away. That's what it's all about in this text. The question is doesn't he want to see Hashem's splendor directly? Hashem's glory? Doesn't he want to receive the light and love and presence that God is willing to show him and share with him at that moment? And the answer, Moshe's answer is no, I don't. I refuse to. And that's why he turned his face. So we still haven't really answered the question why. And in order to understand why, we have to first ask and answer another question. And that is, what is the purpose of life? Why are we all here? What is the reason that God puts human beings on earth to begin with? Once we answer the purpose, the reason, according to Judaism, why we are here in the world, then we can go back and understand why Moses hid his face. According to Maimonides, a prominent Jewish philosopher and scholar, the primary goal in life is to attain a deep and genuine connection to God. How is this done? By seeking knowledge and understanding of Him. According to this view, by hiding his face at the burning bush, Moshe lost a golden opportunity to further his understanding and knowledge of the higher divine realms. After all, this is our primary goal in life. The Ramchal, also known as Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, was an 18th century Jewish philosopher and mystic. Ramchal believed that each individual has a unique purpose in life, and that purpose is to refine and perfect their soul. It is through this journey of refining one's character which leads to spiritual development. According to this school of thought, what Moshe gained in sincere humility and genuine awe of heaven at the burning bush outweighed any loss of knowledge. The mystics say that a soul wouldn't even be born into this world if it didn't have flaws to correct. So it's a given that there's always something that we can be working on. When God wanted to reveal himself in all of his glory to Moses, Moses turned away. The last veil was going to be lifted, and Moses decided against it. Why? Because it would defeat the second purpose. The second purpose is, if we're here to grow, then that means we need some area of uncertainty. Because when there's unpredictability, when there's uncertainty, when there's unknowingness, that is when we exercise faith. And when we exercise faith, that is when all the lessons, all the corrections and the refinements of our soul take place. That's when all the virtues happen. The mere exercising of faith and walking through uncertainty, walking through our fears, walking through the insanity of the world and still being anchored into alignment with the divine, that is when all the growth takes place. Not when we're comfortable and not when we're basking in knowingness and certainty. So as long as Moses, the lesson Moses was given us is that as long as we're human beings, there's a reason and a necessity for not knowing. There is a tremendous potential to refine ourselves when we do not know, That is how we earn our light. That is how we earn our growth. That is ultimately how we transform. And Moses knew that once that veil, that last curtain is lifted, all of that would go away. And so what we can learn from this is that sometimes there's a deep jewel, a deep treasure of a lesson in just being a simple man or woman of faith. Fast forward to chapter 33. After leading the Israelites out of Egypt, Moses had a very close relationship with God. However, in verse 13 and 18, we see Moses makes a bold request to God. He says, "Let me know your ways. Let me behold your presence." This is a surprising turn of events. As earlier in chapter 3, when God first revealed himself to Moses at the burning bush, he was afraid to even look at him. Moses hid his face since he was afraid to look at God. Commenting on this plot twist, the Talmud says, "When I was willing, you were not willing to see my face. Now that you are willing, I am not willing." So what was God's response to this sudden change of heart of Moses? "No man shall see my face and live." In other words, what God was telling Moses is, Moses, the first time we had this conversation, you were right. A person should not understand God's mind, should not understand life as it's happening, while still as a human being, while still in this body. It would defeat the entire purpose of what you came here to do. It would defeat the entire purpose of how a soul grows and develops itself spiritually in the world. Therefore, I shall not grant your request now because I'm agreeing with your first position. Instead, this is what I, God, can offer you, Moses. When my presence passes by, I will put you in a cleft of the rock and cover you with my own hand until I have passed by. This implies that while I am passing you by, while things in life are happening to you, while events of your life are unfolding, you will not be able to fully understand. My hand will prevent that comprehension, that full knowing. My hand will serve as that veil or curtain between you and I, between you and existence. And this is for your own good, your own benefit, your own growth, and your own development. Then I will take my hand away, and you will see my back, but my face must not be seen. This sudden plot twist shows two things. It shows Moses' desire to know God more intimately, that Moses' love for Hashem is growing, and he only wants to be closer. But it also shows another thing about God himself, that God is willing to listen, that God is a partner. After all, we are in a covenant with him. A marriage is a covenant, it's a partnering, and God is willing to listen. So God grants Moses' request. He meets him halfway on his request. He says, while you can't see my face while it's happening, and you can't understand life going forward, you can live life going forward, but you can understand life backwards. You can see my head. I will let you understand and connect the dots of your spiritual journey here on earth, but you're going to have to do it in retrospect. Again, the only way to live life is by going forward, but to understand it, we can look backwards. This teaching is a demonstration that our relationship with God is evolving and can change, and that the spiritual journey of life is definitely worth pursuing. Have you ever looked back on your life and wondered how you got to where you are today? Well, that's what seeing life in retrospect is all about. That's the essence of seeing the back of God's head. It's the ability to connect the dots of our lives and see how each decision, each experience, and each person has led us to where we are right now. Whether it's a personal or a professional journey, taking a step back and reflecting on our past can provide valuable insight and understanding. It allows us to see patterns, connections, and lessons learned that we may have missed along the way. Thank you so much for tuning into my channel, Old Soul Torah. Do not be a stranger, be a friend. Check in with us. Subscribe if you haven't already done so. May we continue to travel in grace and in ease, with Him leading the way for us, and Him giving us the strength to overcome any obstacles and challenges that we might have ahead of us. Everything in life, every challenge is only there to make us stronger and wiser. So may we continue to keep on keeping on. God bless. Until next time, shalom.